Greg, welcome
Hey,
back. It's good to see you. How was your weekend?
the weekend was good. I went up to Chicago where it was super cold compared to Memphis and visited with my kids and enjoyed. Saw my buddy Ian Wagreich and my biking friends that we started planning a little bit our summer bike adventure. We haven't decided where we're going yet, but it'll be someplace good.
That's
So
exciting. I love that.
yeah, it was a fun
Yeah, it was very
weekend.
cold in Chicago. My brother just came down. I'm in my parents today, in their office. And my brother just came down from Chicago, so he's enjoying the tropical sunshine and weather.
We
Certain
got there, it
parts
was
of
like
the
10 degrees.
country.
You gotta be kidding.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so today, Greg, on Immigration Conversations, Immigration Tech Conversations, we're presented by Visalaw AI for immigration intelligence you can trust. Today, we're going to be reviewing the ChatGPT Shopping Feature, which has come out over the summer, and they've begun in the fall. It's a feature that's available to all users, free, pro users, and it's sort of controversial. I've seen, people who have used it, they don't like it. We're going to test it out today and see if we like it. We've gotten to fool around with it a little bit, but
Okay.
basically this is, yeah, it's okay.
That's
I
my
think
quick
it's,
assessment. Is like it's not going to change your life.
yeah, it's what they're sort of introducing is what they call the Agentic commerce protocol,
Yeah.
basically allowing users to be a one-stop shop within ChatGPT, where you can look up items and see what's available, what's out there. You can give it sort of your vague notions of a gift that you want to give. Obviously, we're in the holiday season, so maybe this will save somebody who hasn't done their shopping just yet, and they can find something here today. And so, as we get started, I want to just let everybody know you can find us on LinkedIn, YouTube, and X, on Greg's X account, his Twitter account. You can find us on Greg's LinkedIn. You can also find us on the Visalaw YouTube page. And you've got the option. Send in your comments if you've got any questions throughout today. Follow Greg. Greg is about to go over, I think, 20,000 followers on LinkedIn. Does that make you an influencer now, Greg?
I don't know. Probably not. I still have a lot more on X. It's just I'm convinced that everybody has accounts there, and basically they're all dormant. Nobody's there anymore. But yeah. Well, I like LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's a good place. And so if you guys have any questions, submit them, and we'll sort of talk about them today. And we're happy to go over those as well. But Greg, let's sort of tee this up. Let's go through a little bit. I want to show what this feature is and what ChatGPT has to say, OpenAI has to say about this feature.
Okay.
So with the Buy It Now feature, you can see this is their sort of introductory article, and they're introducing this, like I said, across accounts. So you could go in, you can use this today. The only thing to note is that you can't use it if you're using an enterprise account. So, Greg, we have sort of Visalaw enterprise account that we use across our team, and you're not able to use it if it's sort of your company or enterprise account. So I was trying to figure out where it was.
I have a pro account, so I can use it there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little interesting. I guess they don't want business. They want people shopping on their work time.
Yeah, I guess so.
That seems to be kind of like the only logic of why it would be in pro and not in enterprise.
Right. So one way you can check if you have it or not, and I'll just go over here real quick. You can, obviously, there's two ways to sort of start it. The first way, you could go into the plus sign here, where you would put in your prompts, and you could go to the shopping research so you can see if you have it there. Or you can just type in, for example, Greg, we were talking about, maybe you're shopping for a stressed out immigration lawyer. So we'll say, I am looking for a gift for a stressed out immigration lawyer. My budget is, let's say $100. And so you can type that in, And this is the point where it's going to start searching the web, and it's going to try to look through its sources. And right now, the only sources I feel like OpenAI is kind of actively expanding this, but you'll see as we get these results. So here's some thoughtful under $100 gifts for stressed out immigration lawyers. Practical
If you
self care
bought that for
focused.
me, if you bought that for me, I would not be happy.
I'm
You
not
would
sure.
stress,
I'm not sure
you would
exactly
stress
what a
me out
breathing necklace
more
is.
if you got me that. No offense. I don't know
Exactly.
what these companies are. That is not very targeted.
That's right. So I think that's sort of one of the things that we can highlight. I think that's where people are coming up with a lot of their criticisms of the shopping feature currently. Right now, the only places that OpenAI is sourcing from for these gifts, which are all very you can see these are sort of where they're coming from. So all of it boutique and Voss Botanicals, Serenity Bath and Body Care. These are probably being sourced from Etsy or anyone with with the Shopify account. And so those are the only places right now that you're able to source from the ChatGPT shopping feature. It's Etsy and people with Shopify accounts.
Yeah.
And so until OpenAI is able to sort of expand their reach, maybe grab Target or Walmart or whoever to be part of this sort of library that they're sourcing from, you're really going to get things that are from these certain areas to a certain extent, or at least these are the first things they're going to pop up, right? So we might be able to find some other things, but it may be harder.
Yeah.
And so that brings me to, I want to go back in here and explain what they're sort of saying, how instant checkout works and how the shopping feature works. So when somebody asks for running shoes under $100 or gifts for whoever it may be, ChatGPT is going to show the most relevant products from across the web. And these product results are not sponsored. So there's not people like, buying ad space to show up at the top of these searches. These are ranked on relevance to user and the keywords that you're using, which is interesting. So, because I didn't really feel like any of those things were very relevant to me, but I also don't have a ton of history within that chat or within there that it would be sort of sourcing from. And so, if we did find one of those products that we liked for an immigration lawyer or a stressed out immigration lawyer, we could buy and confirm that order. And basically, you wouldn't have to leave that area within the sort of ChatGPT input function. And it's all sort of handled within the ChatGPT system. So, and I think this is an interesting note as well, Greg, is that there is a merchant fee. There's a small merchant fee that the merchants are paying to sort of sell on the shopping feature. So, I guess I'm not sure if those fees are going to be passed on to the buyer. It seems like that's always the case in the end at some point, but at least from what OpenAI is telling us, the buyer is not sacrificing for using the ChatGPT function. It's the merchant who's going to be paying whatever the small fee is.
I mean,
So that's
it's a good idea, I think, to push this out. I have a feeling it's, the execution of it, probably could have been better. And I'm guessing that there'll be a bunch of competitors in the space fairly soon. I would imagine that Claude, because of their ownership relationship with Amazon, where Amazon has a good portion of Anthropic's shares equity, they could probably build out something pretty awesome. But I'm glad that they did it. I tried I tried developing a prompt myself that I thought was a little bit more on point, or at least would get you a little bit closer. And the idea is not to go out necessarily and find these things on Etsy, but just actually give you ideas for gifts that might be interesting. So if you let me share
Yeah, absolutely. Let's
screen,
check
I'll
it out.
show you a prompt this prompt is in, I put it in Prompt.Law. I'm going to make it bigger because you told me that people have problems seeing.
And one thing I'll note, Greg, I think it was an interesting point that you brought up with Claude's relationship with Anthropic, or Anthropic's relationship with Amazon. We also, with the sort of competing market of these general LLMs, things like Google, who owns tons of ad space and sort of controls, when you Google something and you get those sponsored ads and it's like, buy this or check out this website. I think that's an interesting sort of note in how things will be sourced. How people search for products. This opening up of these agentic buying protocols, I think opens up a really interesting space in how places like Google and ChatGPT and Claude will end up cooperating with each other if these features do expand.
Yeah. All right. So let me tell you about this thing. So when I have to buy gifts, this is an immigration law and live stream, and a lot of the times that in your businesses, whether you're an immigration lawyer or not, actually, this probably is a pretty helpful prompt. You're oftentimes buying for work colleagues, you're buying for your clients, you're buying for vendors, you're buying for all kinds of people that you'd like to recognize with the gift. So this is basically a gift concierge app in Prompt, and the goal is to find things that are appropriate for both the person, but also nothing weird. And I think that term is actually used somewhere in here. So
always an important note for gift giving.
And avoid the generics. It's like bottle wine or gift cards, or everybody does them. But the like nothing overtly romantic or any of that kind of stuff on here. Personalization, it's going to ask questions that are going to help to get a better idea of the person if you know them. A lot of times you may not have that much information. And then so these are the questions it's going to ask on here, and then the some restrictions there. Gives it a little bit of an idea about what the output's going to look like. And then, and it helps with writing the little message on here as well, because that's sometimes for people, they're not sure kind of like how to write a professional gift accompanying message. And then the any further clarifying questions. So this is what the prompt looks like. You can go into Prompt.Law, which is our site, and we have our prompt library. And if you just go in and I think just hit gift, let's see, not sure what the search term would be. I might not have, did I save it yet? I may not. Actually, I was just working on this thing. I hope I didn't lose it just now. All right, it's there. So I did paste it in to ChatGPT, so it's ready to go when we're here. So let me share that tab. Okay, going to do what you said. Make it bigger.
There we go.
There we go. All right, so I've got our prompt here, and I'm just going to hit on here. It's going to, let's see, who's the recipient. And we talked about this for about 2 seconds before this live stream. We said we'll do our co-founder of Visalaw AI, Josh Waddell. Josh, I don't know if you're watching. Stop watching now, because we may actually use this. We'll see if it's good or not. If it's a bad gift, then rest assured we're not getting it. Okay, what's in relationship to Josh? Josh is the co-founder of our company, Visalaw AI. What's the occasion and timing? What are we celebrating, thanking him for? When do you need to have the gift in hand? What's the occasion? Just because. And
because of all of his hard work.
Let's have this in the next 2 weeks. That way, if it takes a little time for delivery or whatever. Okay. Budget range. We'll say $100, 100 or less. 3 to 5 specific clues about Josh's interest or preference. He has a toddler and another on the way. He is a musician and loves Americana music and also writes that music. And he is into photography.
There we go.
All right. Hopefully there's nothing too personal there, Josh. Okay. Practical constraints I should respect. Alcohol, okay or not, dietary restrictions, clutter averse. He does travel a lot.
Yeah, travel a lot. Absolutely. Always on the go, Josh.
I think the others are okay. All right. How will we deliver it? In person in Memphis. Tone, professional, friendly, humorous, sentimental, or a mix. Let's say humorous. Quick recommendation. Oh, it's already starting with the recommendations. Peak design packable tote, a small dad on the go organizer pouch. Okay. I'm not sold on a tote. Short, it's giving some other options. The Moleskine notebooks are always good. Bellroy Tech Kit. I don't know what that is. Practical. Oh, the anchor stuff. It's always good. That's oh,
And
Yeti stuff is that's always a good one. You can't lose, but if you can maybe get it personalized with him.
I think that would be a great idea.
Yeti mug.
Well, I wonder, Greg, if there's a way that this prompt could almost link directly into or sort of can be connected with the shopping feature so that once you got to this point, you could just directly go into that sort of feature.
Well, how would I? What do you think I should type in that box to see if I can do that, or do you think you have to actually go in and click
Well,
on?
I tell you what, let's try the Yeti mug. Just so let's say then that we've got these sort of examples, and we can look up this Yeti mug that it's sort of this prompt has given us.
All right, so let's say, can you find these for me to buy? I'm especially interested in the Yeti. I don't know what it's going to do. I think we might break it.
That would be interesting. So yeah, so now it's going into its shopping feature. So yeah, it's really triggered by that sort of. Oh, see, so now it's going into this question.
Wait! It's asking clarifying questions.
Okay.
Let's get the coffee mug. Josh likes coffee. Oh, color. Earthy green. Now fun. Seasonal print. Okay. Oh, wait, actually you have to click on that. All right. Continue. Add personalization. Sure. What do we want to say? Short message.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So now it's sort of indexing here.
None of that. Well, the only one that looks like a coffee mug is sort of that one. I thought they were going to actually give like a real coffee mug. I had the coffee mug from Yeti.
Well, what's interesting is that one that it's showing you is actually it's the koozie.
Yeah.
So let's see.
I know you can personalize them because I've been giving them as gifts before for different things. Okay. This is not a coffee mug.
So we are not interested in this.
That's a strike against it. What is that? Not interested. No, not interested. All right. Can we move
Yeah.
on? All right.
So yeah, well that was sort of an interesting experiment, and yeah, I think at the end of the day, as we sort of, I think the prompt worked really well. I think it gave us some really good recommendations and gave us some really
Yeah.
good personalizations. If you
Oh
were
yeah.
still
No, the
sort of,
stuff actually. So I think it actually did a pretty good job on the music stuff.
yeah,
Um, so it was talking about like getting tickets for an Americana music show, the photography, with coffee stops. So that's kind of creative on there. I'll
hmm
take Josh out for a photo trip. Custom guitar picks. That's a great idea for somebody
yeah,
who plays guitar on there, especially if you can get them like with his initials or that kind of stuff on them. Yeah, I mean, so that was good. I love how though this is the scary the stuff that okay. All right. All right, but at least it's food for thought. This is where it does a better job probably than a lot than maybe on the shopping part of it
Yeah,
is
I have to say that, I personally, if I were to have to choose between the features, whether if I were to choose between using your prompt, Greg, or using the ChatGPT shopping feature, I've had a much better experience, having watched you do it, the with your prompt. It sort of it feels like it's a lot cleaner and a lot more efficient and much more specific, I think, as well. It's not just sort of indexing, and probably is able to look through. It sort of bypasses, I would say, like the prompt. We talked about, it's only sort of, the shopping feature is only connected to Etsy features and to Shopify e-commerce platforms. Your prompt, I think, sort of subverts that and allows you to sort of catalog the rest of the internet. So you're not as constrained by using the shopping feature, which again, I think that's sort of, I think, one of the critiques that people have had when they've used it, is it's sort of constraining a little bit.
yeah. All right. So we can get out of that. We were so that was that's we thought this is like if you're really desperate, we're a couple days ahead of Christmas still. If you had to get something, you can do that. And so that's why we decided we do that today. The other thing that happens a lot right now is traveling. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that, but I did something that I've started playing around with, which are developing custom GPTs.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
these are sort of like your AI agents that OpenAI has, where you can, not really agents, I guess, but they're you can kind of have like a series of tasks that are related and kind of like have some consistency if you're doing the same kind of thing over and over again. Um, but all right, I want to show you what I was working on for that. So let me share a different tab. All right, so this is if you've never designed a GPT before, you would go into GPTs on the left of ChatGPT, hit create, and then it's actually kind of cool. You would start with you can go and create, and basically this will just kind of guide you along. If you say, I want to do a GPT that does this, and then it will ask you clarifying questions and a bunch of things, and it will get you to the end without having to really know anything about how the custom GPTs work. Or if you already know what you're doing, you can go in here and then fill in what you want. Keep in mind, by the way, these GPTs could be public. If you're going to upload files and you're doing like client things with them, be careful about that. But for helping you plan a trip, it could be useful. I've done it for other things now. But anyway, that was so that was that. Let me go back in. And so this custom GPT, you basically, the way I've set it up is that I have let me see if I can get into it and you can actually see how to configure. That's the one part about it that is not super easy, is actually making after the fact changes. But basically what I did on here is I said that I wanted when I was designing it, I wanted it to help me with trip checklists, including packing checklists. I wanted to help me find hotels and flights. I wanted it to help me develop an itinerary. I said I go to conferences. I wanted to help me with the logistics for that. Help me plan runs, walks, museum trips, any of that kind of stuff. Issues I need to think about if it's in another country, like visas, etc. Helping me find restaurants that fit my dietary restrictions, etc. So you could say on here, I'm going to Lisbon next month to speak at the UIA Global Mobility Conference. And we'll see what it tells me, how it's going to tell me. All right. So I've set this up on here. Are you seeing this? I think you are. Where I ask it for some basic things that it will ask me for. And then once I have those, you can kind of go through these different tasks one at a time. And it's kind of a little useful thing that you can do. I will tell you that one thing that I've done, I've used it a lot, ChatGPT, to help me find hotels. It's pretty good at that. Especially if you say, I'm looking for something in this part of town. I want something that has, close proximity. Like I'll say, I'm speaking at this convention center or at this, at this venue. I want a hotel nearby. I want it to be close to a metro line. I want it to be, you can have it, all those kinds of things, and it'll help you narrow it down. I'm looking for a hotel that is in this price range or this many stars. It does all that. One of the favorite things I have is also, and I ask it a lot of times and then I'll say, find me a restaurant within a 10-minute walk of my hotel. I might say, if I'm traveling somewhere, I want to go for a run or a walk. I'll have it design me a running route, or I'll have it design me a walking tour. I'll tell it in the route to give me turn-by-turn directions. Tell me the distance. I'll tell it the distance I want to go. I'll say I want to go in a circle and bring me back to this location at the end. I'll say I want something for running, the fewest traffic lights, so a very runner-friendly route that is not going to require me to do a lot of stopping or going through a lot of crowded places crowded with a lot of people. I want it to be in safe locations. It knows what I mean for that. So you can do all of that, but this is this GPT, was a fairly straightforward thing to design. I maybe spent about 20 minutes working on this. So if I said the dates, I'm not sure of the dates, but let's just say January 27th to February 1st, 2026. And then the conference venue in the home airport, just say, I don't remember. I don't know yet. I don't have that information yet. I do have that information. I just don't want to find it. And then it'll give me placeholders: home airport, home budget, hotel budget. Let's skip these for now. So, the good thing is about this kind of, if it's flexible enough, it can work on the with that. And then all right. So give me a pre-trip readiness checklist, and we'll see what it does. So there you go. Tells me some things I need, some things I don't. It tells me very practical things about plugs and currency. Gives me an idea, because it knows when I'm traveling of what the weather's likely to be like. So it gives me an idea of what I should be packing. Knows I'm going to speak at a conference, so it's giving me stuff related to that. It knows I'm usually want to run. Sometimes there's this great app, by the way, called Pools. It used to be called Swimmer's Guide, but anyway, it finds like pools that you can swim in any city in the world. If you're in apps, which I like to do sometimes when I'm traveling. But anyway, this is kind of a useful thing here that it does, and then it can, and you can go dig into any of the other areas that you want to go to. But it's a really, I find that and I don't just use ChatGPT, but I know that's the biggest market share, and I'll sometimes Gemini, oftentimes I will use as well for these kinds of tasks, and it'll do a pretty good job.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the biggest takeaway as well, Greg, is like anybody can really make their own their own GPT. It's really a simple process. We were talking before we got on. I don't have personally much technical experience, but I was able to go in and was shown how to make a GPT, and it's fairly simple. You just have to sort of know what the task is that you want it to accomplish, and then you can sort of build it out from there.
And it gives
Um,
you a lot of suggestions along the way. If you're not sort of like, a lot of times I like to get help from the AI in terms of like, it seems like it knows intuitively what I want it to do, and it will, even if I haven't enunciated it. A lot of times it's like, we'll say, would you like me to do this? And it's like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Do it, do that, and do this, and here's a couple other things on
and
there.
and
So
so can you explain, Greg, sort of, especially with like maybe this trip GPT, how is there a difference for you between using this GPT that you've built for, sort of planning trips and itineraries versus just asking ChatGPT straight up, "Hey, I've got a trip. Can you help me plan this?"
well, I mean, I think the benefit of this is the consistency. If you put a lot of time into kind of training the GPT and telling what you want, how you want things structured, um, it'll do a pretty good job with that. Plus, uh, as you're using this thing, it's starting to learn. It'll learn from your answers of what, kind of what's important to you. It does that in general ChatGPT as well, but I do think actually having it, sort of in this place. And the other part of it is that you may find that you're it's easier if it's not doing a good job for you, um, to make the tweaks here so that in future it'll be more consistent, and you won't have to sort of, I mean, a lot of times I think the most complicated part of this is the initial prompt. And if you just start with this generic prompt, yeah, it's learning from you and it may do a pretty good job with that. But if you're thoughtful about what the initial set of instructions are, it can be helpful. In this case, the reason why I wanted also to do it as a GPT was we're going to be a lot of different functions for this, travel planning. A checklist or a hotel finder or a running route, they're all very discrete tasks. And in the GPT that I built, that has it knows that I'm going to probably be asking it to do those different discrete tasks, so it's able to handle that in the front end on how you set things up.
Yeah, and I think the key is, if there are tasks that you do frequently, Greg, obviously you are traveling around quite a bit, and so this is a really helpful GPT for you. If there are tasks, whatever it may be, that sort of could be automated in some form or function, like you just outlined, sort of having that instead of building a new prompt every time. If you want to get a really good output, you can do that work on the front end and build this GPT for you, so that you have that sort of assistant
Yeah.
already ready for you and on the ready.
Yeah, I mean, it's and it is actually, I think, one of these things where I tell people that are a little nervous about AI, that travel planning can be one of sort of the lower risk tasks that you can take on to start learning about how to use these tools. It's pretty good at that. You're not going to really get into too much trouble, probably. Well, I guess you could get into trouble if you design a running route or whatever that takes you through a neighborhood that you shouldn't be going in or something like that. But the let's say that the odds that you could do that, you could screw that up on your own too. But I do think that the shopping and these are kinds of things that are probably for people that are new to these tools, are good introductions, because they don't really have to worry about getting into trouble with confidential information or any of that kind of thing. Although I guess that they, hopefully, OpenAI, I'm guessing, is pretty careful on their shopping app now with respect to spending money on there in the app. I did do, the other thing that they had initially, and I tried it and I used it successfully when it came out, was OpenAI had this thing called Operator, which is, I don't know if operator's still there. I'm gonna actually take a look real fast. And if it
Yeah,
is,
go for it.
I'll show you what it does. ChatGPT.com. Let's see if it's still a thing. Service unavailable. OpenAI operator. This was their agent. Well, this was their agentic AI, and it was. I'm not sure if it's still a thing. Go to operator. Oh, it's still there. Okay. Oh, no, they've taken it down. So operator was there, and basically what it was I said, okay, I think the first time I used it, I was speaking in Zagreb in this past May, at the ALA Rome chapter meeting. And I wanted it to help me find a hotel, to stay at. And it basically, I gave it, in the prompt, I said, I'm looking for a hotel. Here are some of the criteria I'm looking for. And then with an operator, it basically takes control. It doesn't take control. You see a web browser within the screen, and it actually, you're seeing it looks like there's somebody's operating it remotely, and it's moving the mouse, and it's taking you through search and all that. And then every once in a while, it stops, and it asks you to say yes or no if you're happy with what it's finding for you. And then at a later point, it actually asked you to put your credit card information in yourself, and do the transaction part yourself. I guess it was, they didn't want to be responsible for handling money, but that was that was how operator worked. But it's gone, apparently, on there. The 503 service unavailable. But it was an interesting experiment. I still think it's probably, we'll start to see more and more of that coming over time. But that's how that worked.
Absolutely. And sort of one note as we sort of wrap up and connect all of these things, whether it's the shopping feature, one of the things, Morgan Stanley actually had a study on this, and how purchasing, and these itinerary planning, sort of agentic assistants are going to affect how people interact with these things. And Morgan Stanley predicts that by 2030, nearly 50% of all of online shoppers will use AI agents to make purchases, through one way or the other. And obviously, we're already sort of seeing the beginnings of that with the shopping feature from ChatGPT, and with the associations that Anthropic has with Amazon. And so those are certainly things that are going to change. And connecting this sort of back to the immigration piece, Greg, for lawyers who, obviously are looking, need clients to run their business. We know that, whether it's your prompt and we can find products, or we go to the ChatGPT shopping feature and we can find things on Etsy, that we're sort of now being directed by these AI agents to serve products and services. For immigration lawyers, how is this going to affect their business and their bottom line moving forward? How can they sort of stay ahead of these things, and using LLMs to help their business grow?
Well, I'm going to get to that in a second. I did figure out what happened to operator. It's
Okay.
now built in. It's called agent now. It's still there. It's basically and I'm going to do a quick screen share just
Let's
to
see it.
show people what agent is on here. But basically, it's the same idea. It's just part of deep thinking, but it is it will do the same kind of thing where you're asking it to book something for you, like it'll book an airline flight, or it'll book a hotel for you. So that's just something to know that it does, and it might be worth trying that out if you have an account that it will support it. I don't know if it's in all the accounts, or not. Okay, back to what you were talking about before. So yeah, and actually, with respect to, are people going to find immigration lawyers, or other kinds of lawyers, using ChatGPT, much as they do today using search engines? I guess is probably still the best. Is still, I don't know if it's the best, but it's the highest, the most popular way that people are searching For lawyers, it used to just be, when I started my career, it was all word of mouth and the yellow pages. Do you remember what the yellow pages are? You know what they are, Ian?
Never even used them,
You know what they are, though, right?
but I do know what they are. Yes.
It's been a while since I think most people have had the yellow pages delivered to their houses. But I will show this is an article that I wrote a few months back. It came out in July for the American Bar Association. I write a column for them on marketing. And this was all about how clients are using AI tools to find lawyers. And I was curious about it because one of the lawyers in our monthly lawyer lunch that we have at the firm had mentioned that it was her first time ever hearing a client tell her that she was found in ChatGPT. And then he not only found her, when he asked for looking for lawyers with a particular specialty, but he vetted her with ChatGPT, and he asked a bunch of questions to ChatGPT to kind of screen what he was looking for, which I thought was really interesting. And that gave me the idea to write this article. But basically, the lesson is that a lot of the techniques that SEO firms, search engine optimization companies use, and there's people are spending a lot of money on those, and they may be very good for Google search and other things. That it's not necessarily the same principles that apply with the AI, and you have to sort of like take a step back. And the AI is trying to please the user, and it's trying to get you closest to what you want. So when you say, I'm trying to find the best lawyer in this particular specialty, in this particular area, they are going, the way the AI is looking at that question is they're looking at reputation. They are looking at trying to find evidence that you really know that practice area. So they are looking for evidence of publishing in that particular space, and other evidence of expertise. And so it is actually, I've told people, it's kind of like a you're going back in time to when I was starting out as a lawyer. We were being taught to become thought leaders in a practice area, and that meant writing a lot about a particular subject, going out and speaking on a particular subject, taking, and really kind of, the word of mouth that was the way people looked for lawyers in the past. It's kind of like that now, again, with these tools. The other thing that it's looking for are, have you been ranked or, by your peers, or have you won awards for different things? And those were things that used to matter a lot more. Like there was this thing, and it still exists, called Marndale Hubble. Is a big rating service it's a big service that I think Lexis owns the company, for getting information on lawyers. And they used to have this thing called, and they still have it, called AV ratings, which is the top rating a lawyer could get. And it was based on peer reviews, what other lawyers had to say. So I used to get them every year. I don't see them as much, but I used to get a list of the lawyers. I was AV rated, so they would ask the AV rated lawyers to say what they thought of this list of lawyers in the community, and whether they deserve to be AV rated or not on there. And it's kind of the same thing. What ChatGPT will look at that kind of stuff, whereas search engine optimization is usually just looking for keywords that show up on a website to see if that's a close match to what the person's looking for. Anyway, this article is online, and I guess we'll make this link available. It's not hidden behind a paywall or anything like that, so it's all here. But it is I did go into some depth about it in the article, and I would say that it's worth taking a look at. Your clients may be using it already to find you. Some of them may be embarrassed to say they found you on ChatGPT. I think it's a cool way to find somebody. But that's something that you'll see more and more of, I think, over time. So if you are a lawyer and you're trying to learn a little bit about it, you might find this article helpful. Some of those SEO firms are now retooling and advising on how to get found as well. But I would say sort of the quick advice I would give, the 15-second advice I would give on this is make yourself demonstrate your expertise through your content. Demonstrate your expertise through your resume, and there's a decent chance ChatGPT will reward you.
And I think that's great advice, Greg. And this is actually some stuff that we did. I think it covers a lot of the similar things that we talked about in one of our earlier episodes, where we talked about using AI in marketing and how immigration lawyers can use AI to build that content, repurpose content, so you're not having to make a new article every single day in order to stay relevant and get into different content streams. And all of that is available on our YouTube page. And I'll say, yeah, you can find Greg's article here on the ABA. Clients are consulting AI before calling a lawyer. If you want it also sent directly to your inbox, you can scan the QR code on your screen and sign up for the Visalaw AI newsletter. And we can send you that in this upcoming month's edition. You can also find the Visalaw newsletter at visalaw.ai/newsletter, and you can sign up to receive those as well. This will be in our upcoming edition, so you can look forward to that and learn a little bit more about how how LLMs are being used and how to stay ahead of the game. I think is always the goal of immigration legal tech conversations is figuring out what is important to know, what's fluff. I think, Greg, we determined, I think today, that maybe the ChatGPT shopping feature right now is fluff. Maybe it'll be more relevant later. I don't think I'll be using the shopping feature all that much. I'd rather use your prompt, which you can also find on Prompt.Law. I think it's a much more effective way to sort of find gifts for people. And I just think that the shopping feature, in our experience and a lot of other people's experience as well, has been a little bit clunky and is not quite expansive enough yet to really be making a difference in the shopping experience. What are your thoughts?
I would say, I'm glad that they released it. A lot of things are bad at the first pass and then improve over time. So I would say that I would probably check back periodically to see how it's doing.
I think that's really good advice. I think that's good advice as well. All right, Greg. Well, we will close it out here. Like I said, if you are new to the conversation, you can follow Greg on LinkedIn. You can subscribe to the Visalaw YouTube page. You can follow Greg on X as well. Immigration Legal Tech Conversations. We come online and do a live stream every 2 weeks. And so you can find us here again on January 5th. I think that we're going to be talking about prompting techniques in that edition. And we've got a comment here, so we'll see what this is first. So before we close off, Shane says, "I've been
a real world person that's using it to find a lawyer." Yeah. It's a I would say that I would use it to supplement what you're using to find a lawyer. I don't think I would use it exclusively yet, but you can probably at least get some names to vet from it.
Yeah, it's sort of a good way to start, I think. And then, it's sort of all the things that we've talked about today. It's a good place to start. It's always a great jumping off point, I feel like.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that will do it for us today, Greg. I appreciate you hopping on, and look forward to talking to you again on January 5th. And it'll be, Shane has one more addendum to what he said. And he said it's been frustrating.
Oh, well, you might try and narrow it down to, and actually try Gemini as well for the same thing, because sometimes I feel like for things that are sort of a migration from traditional web search, Gemini is better, just because I think it's in Google's DNA a little bit more to be able to find stuff like that. So maybe try it over there and see what you find. But I would probably, and maybe narrow it down by geographically who you want, somebody in the right area. None of it was helpful. Okay. Well, that's probably good news then for the SEO guys. on there. I do think you have to, as lawyers, we have to be mindful of trying to make for it. I have tested it sometimes as well and found that it's a completely different group of lawyers with the same basic parameters that I gave it, and didn't always do a great job. But I do think if you're looking for something super specific, like somebody who knows about something very narrow within immigration law, it seems to do a better job if you're looking for a firm that does this, super niche type of practice. It's usually better at finding those kinds of things because it's looking maybe for articles that the firm has written on a topic, books that lawyers in that firm have written on that. That might be the easier thing to do. I don't personally. I think the best way, Shane, is the old-fashioned way, which is to get a recommendation from somebody who actually knows the reputations of lawyers. So if you don't know an immigration lawyer in your town, but you know another lawyer, chances are the good immigration lawyers are well known by the rest of the legal profession in the particular community. So you might just see if you can find somebody there, or maybe if you're at a company and they have an in-house lawyer at the company who is general counsel. Sometimes they'll know who who the reputable lawyers are. So those are sort of old-fashioned ways to go find a lawyer, and sometimes they're still the best way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, yeah, in lieu of any more questions, again, if you want to find Greg's article, we're going to be shipping that out in the next edition of our Visalaw newsletter. So you can scan the QR code. You can go to visalaw.ai/newsletter and sign up that way as well. And we'll send you a copy of Greg's article. You can also find that on the ABA website as well, Greg. So any last words of wisdom for people here?
No, I mean, I think that no words of wisdom, but just hopefully people have a nice next week for the holidays. It's for immigration. It's been a turbulent year. I think we can all just check out turn the news off for a week, enjoy spending some time with your family, and we'll be back after the new year.
Absolutely. I think that's a great way to leave off. So thank you so much, Greg. And we'll hope to see everybody in 2 weeks.